Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're diving into a question that, well, I know many of you have probably pondered. Can exams actually be more than just, a snapshot of what you already know?
Hmm.
Our listener, the learner, posed a brilliant question about collaborative exams where students work together. Are they just a clever way to cheat, or could they unlock a more powerful way to learn?
That's exactly the fascinating territory we're exploring today.
Yeah,
We have a compelling study here, published in the American Journal of Physics, titled Collaborative Exams, Cheating or Learning.
right.
And it takes a really close look at how students perform in these two-stage collaborative assessments.
Precisely. So for you, the learner who's all about getting to the core of the matter efficiently and, loves those aha moments without feeling bogged down,
Yeah,
we're going to investigate whether teaming up on tests could be a more engaging and, dare I say, a more effective route to understanding and demonstrating your knowledge. Let's get started.
okay, so let's maybe unpack the standard way we think about exams first. It's so deeply ingrained, isn't it?
Totally.
Individual effort, your knowledge standing alone, and any hint of collaboration immediately raises that red flag. You're typically on your own, outside resources strictly forbidden, that sort of thing.
Right. It feels very isolated. But then you look at how problems are tackled in the real world, and it's almost always a team effort, especially like when you're dealing with complex issues.
Exactly.
Experts consult each other, they use all sorts of resources, books, the internet, other people's expertise. So this study really makes you think, if education is meant to prepare us for that reality, why are exams so often the polar opposite?
It really does make you question the fundamental goal of assessment, doesn't it?
Hmm?
Is it solely to measure like a fixed amount of knowledge you possess at a given time? Or could it also be a driver for further learning?
Mm.
The researchers point out that traditional tests often focus on evaluating what a student knows, not necessarily on expanding that knowledge.
That's a really key distinction. It's like taking a single frame from a film of your understanding.
Yeah, exactly.
But what if the act of being assessed could actually help you develop that understanding as you go? That's where this two-stage collaborative assessment model comes into play. So, can you walk us through how this actually works?
Sure. The process has a really interesting design. It begins with a standard individual round. Students answer questions on their own, much like a typical exam.
Okay, standard enough.
Then comes the crucial second stage. Students regroup into teams and tackle the very same questions again, but this time working together.
Ah, okay. So the same challenges, but now you've got the collective brain power of your team to work through them. How does the scoring work in this two-part structure?
Right. So the individual round accounts for half of the final grade. That element of individual accountability remains important.
Got it. 50%.
Then the team round provides a significant opportunity for learning, and this is key thanks to immediate feedback. When a team submits an answer, they instantly know if they've got it right or wrong.
Oh, wow. Instant.
Instantly. And here's where it gets really interesting. If their first attempt isn't correct, they have two more chances to reach the correct answer.
Two more tries.
Yeah, and they can earn partial credit for those subsequent correct attempts.
That sounds far less discouraging than the usual, single shot exam. And I can imagine that immediate feedback is incredibly valuable for solidifying learning right there in the moment.
Absolutely.
For someone like you, the learner, who values efficient learning, that immediate feedback loop in a collaborative setting, well, it seems incredibly powerful for understanding right away.
It really is. And to manage all of this, especially with the open-ended questions, the researchers used an online system.
Okay, technology helps.
Yeah. This system handled everything from administering the exam to automatically grading both individual and team responses, and importantly, providing that immediate feedback to the teams.
Right.
This online system wasn't just for convenience. It was actually crucial in facilitating the immediate feedback that, well, we think is a key ingredient in the learning process during these collaborative exams.
Mm-hmm.
This really addresses one of the potential concerns people might have about this approach. The idea that it would be, logistical nightmare to manage.
Okay, so we understand the process, individual round, then team round on the same questions with that crucial immediate feedback and a chance to learn from mistakes. Now, let's address the elephant in the room.
Uh,
Is this just a way for students who don't know the material to ride on the coattails of those who do? Is it simply the propagation of correct answers? The cheating question.
That's precisely the core question the study sought to answer. They specifically investigated whether collaboration primarily benefited students who initially struggled without offering much to those who already had a good grasp.
And what did they find?
Well, the key finding here is quite striking. All students, across all performance levels, showed a greater number of correct answers after they engaged in collaboration.
Wait, all students? That's a surprising outcome. So even the students who kind of aced the individual round gained something from the team discussion?
Precisely. And get this, here's a statistic that really stood out to me. Around half, about 50% of the teams that began the collaborative round with no one having the correct answer individually.
Wow, nobody knew it initially.
Right. They still managed to arrive at the correct answer as a team.
No way.
Yeah. You can almost picture that moment of collective aha when a team finally cracks a tough problem together.
Wow. So it wasn't just about the correct answers being passed around like notes then.
Doesn't look like it.
The act of collaboration itself was generating new understanding.
That's fascinating. Does this suggest that the collaborative process itself, generates new knowledge beyond what individuals bring? That's a very insightful way to put it, yeah. They also analyze how the number of initially correct answers within a team influence their likelihood of getting it right collaboratively.
Okay.
And what they discovered is that even if a team had someone who answered correctly in the individual round, the collaborative process still added value.
Interesting.
The team dynamic, the discussion, the different ways of approaching the problem, it appears to be more than just the sum of individual knowledge,
Huh.
Think of it like this. Even if you knew the answer, explaining it to someone else solidifies your own understanding and exposes you to different ways of thinking about it, potentially revealing maybe gaps in your own reasoning.
That makes sense. This really challenges that traditional view of collaboration as just a one-way flow of information from the knowledgeable to the less knowledgeable.
Absolutely.
So the benefits extend beyond just achieving the right answer in that moment. What other advantages did the research highlight regarding this collaborative approach?
Well, the study, it draws upon a significant body of existing research that has documented several positive effects of collaborative assessments.
Like what?
These include things like improved overall performance, increased motivation among students, decreased test anxiety, which I'm sure resonates with many of you listening.
Oh, definitely. Test anxiety is real.
Yeah. And a more positive connection with classmates, and even better retention of the material over time.
Those are all significant benefits. Anything specific from this study that really underscores those broader advantages?
Yes. When they specifically looked at those more challenging, open-ended questions.
The ones that require real thought.
Exactly. They observed a dramatic increase in correct answers after collaboration from 38% individually
Oh, okay. 38%?
to a remarkable 74% collaboratively.
74. Wow.
Yeah. That substantial jump, it just can't be attributed to simple guessing. These are complex problems that require logical reasoning and explanation.
That's a huge leap in understanding. It really reinforces the idea that the discussion and problem solving together are leading to a much deeper grasp of the concepts.
Absolutely. And to really investigate whether this benefited all students, they categorized students into low, average, and high ability based on their individual scores.
Right, the different levels.
The fascinating result was that all three groups experienced significant increases in correct answers after collaborating.
All three.
All three. Even the best-in-team students, the ones who achieved the highest individual scores within their teams, they also scored significantly higher after the collaborative round.
So it wasn't a situation where the stronger students just carried the team. Everyone seemed to enhance their understanding through this process. That's pretty compelling.
Precisely. Now, the researchers also acknowledged that there are some, understandable reasons why educators might hesitate to adopt this kind of collaborative assessment more widely.
Right, the barriers.
What are some of those potential hurdles that might make educators think twice?
Well, I can imagine the first concern would be that element of individual accountability, right?
Mm-hmm.
If it's a team grade, how do you really know what each individual student has learned?
That's a valid concern, and the two-stage exam design directly addresses this with that initial individual round contributing significantly 50% to the final grade.
Okay, yeah, that covers it somewhat.
Another concern, as we've discussed, is the worry that it's simply the propagation of correct answers.
The cheating aspect again.
But the research findings strongly suggest that's not the primary driver of the improvement. Then there's the practical aspect. People might assume it's much more complicated to administer, particularly with those open-ended questions.
Yeah, grading team responses for complex problems.
Yeah.
That does sound like it could be quite a logistical challenge.
But the study emphasizes how online systems can really streamline this entire process, making it surprisingly manageable, perhaps even comparable to managing traditional exams.
The tech solution again.
The system automates the feedback and grading. And finally, well, there's often just a natural resistance to changing well-established practices.
Sure. Inertia.
Education, like many fields, can be quite traditional in its approach to assessment.
Right. The old if it ain't broke
Yeah.
mentality. But maybe our understanding of broke in this context needs a rethink based on this.
That's what the researchers argue, yeah, that the benefits to student learning warrant a shift.
So tell us a bit more about the specifics of this study. Where did it take place and who were the students involved?
Okay, the study was conducted in an introductory calculus-based mechanics course at Harvard University.
Okay, Harvard, physics.
Yeah. The course already incorporated a lot of active learning methods like team-based learning, project-based learning, and peer instruction. So it was already a sort of collaborative environment.
That's relevant context.
The participants were 67 students, primarily engineering and pre-medical students. And the researchers carefully constructed balanced teams, taking into account factors like gender, prior grades, academic experience, and prior knowledge of the subject matter.
So they weren't just randomly assigning students to groups. There was a deliberate effort to create effective learning teams.
Exactly. Very intentional.
And what kind of assessments were used in the study?
They utilized 5 two-stage collaborative exams throughout the semester, with each exam lasting approximately 90 minutes.
5 exams. Okay.
These exams included a mix of both open-ended problems and multiple-choice questions, a total of 46 questions across all 5 exams.
Good mix.
And interestingly, the researchers intentionally designed the questions to be quite challenging,
Oh, why is that?
to really encourage meaningful collaboration and ensure that even the most prepared students wouldn't consistently ace the individual round. They wanted people to need to talk.
That makes perfect sense. If the questions are too straightforward, there's less motivation for a deep and substantive discussion with your teammates.
Exactly. It sort of levels the playing field in a way and encourages everyone to actively contribute their thinking and reasoning.
Okay, so we've delved into the process, the key findings, the potential barriers, and the specific context of this study. What's the main takeaway here for you, our listener, the learner?
Well, I think the central takeaway is that this research strongly suggests that collaborative exams are much more than just a means to arrive at the correct answer.
Right.
They appear to be a truly valuable learning experience for all students involved, fostering a deeper level of understanding and significantly improving problem-solving skills.
So it's the process, not just the outcome.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The act of collaboration isn't simply about sharing answers. It involves critical discussion, logical reasoning, and the joint construction of knowledge together.
It's almost as if the exam transforms into a mini problem-solving workshop, doesn't it? With built-in peer support and immediate feedback. So it's not just evaluating existing knowledge, it's actively building it in real time.
Precisely. Couldn't have said it better. And this raises some really thought-provoking questions,
Like what?
Considering these findings, how might collaborative approaches be integrated into other learning environments, beyond just formal exams?
Good question.
What are the broader implications for how we conceive of assessment and learning in general?
That's a fantastic point to consider. For you, the learner, who is always seeking efficient and thorough methods to grasp new information, could this model offer some valuable insights? Could actively engaging with your peers in a structured problem-solving environment be a way to solidify your understanding and unlock those aha moments more frequently?
These are definitely questions worth exploring further. We've really only scratched the surface of this fascinating research today.
For sure.
The full study contains even more detailed data and nuanced analysis, and we certainly encourage you to delve deeper into the broader research on collaborative learning and assessment if this topic has piqued your interest.
Absolutely. What other questions does this deep dive spark for you about how we learn and how we measure that learning? It's certainly given me a lot to think about regarding the potential of shifting assessment, shifting it from a solitary judgment to a dynamic learning opportunity.
Well put.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll catch you next time.